I love when a Bravo Leb fights in a costume. Now, could not be me because you would not catch me in a costume. I don't, again, like I said, I don't do themes, but I love it when it's other people. Something about it is just so funny and it makes me take it like not so seriously. Like they could have been like in a heated argument. Now, granted, they weren't. They could have been. And I wouldn't have taken it seriously whatsoever because they were dressed like pirates. Like, it was just hilarious. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bravo by Gays. It's me, Larry. We have a lot to get into. We are going to talk about this week's Summer House, which was probably one of my favorite episodes of the season. We have to talk about the Southern Charm reunion. Wow. We have some news to talk about. I mean, we have a bunch to go over. It's been a couple weeks since I talked to you guys. I've been busy. I'm sorry, but we are back and let's head to the Hamptons because that episode on Wednesday night, man, I got to talk about it. So let's go. All right, guys. So we are back in the Hamptons for the second half of this pirate party that Carl decided to throw. And there's a lot going on in the beginning. First of all, we see like these interactions between Carl and this like Lil. I think her name was Lil. From the moment I like started seeing their interactions, I was like, I need this woman off my television. Like, I just did not understand what was going on. If you guys watch What Happens Live after that episode of Summer House, they had on Jesse Solomon and Imrol, and they were talking about this girl, and Imrol had said, like, throughout the party, she was kind of, like, making eyes at him or, like, throwing him, like, little heart signs with her hands or whatever. They didn't know if she was, like, being flirtatious or if she was just, like, kind of, like, overly nice. But turns out, if you caught it, I think it was, like, towards the end, Andy may have, like, cut them off to end the show. But Imrol had stated that this Lil woman was, like, in the DMs of, like, multiple guys on the Summer House cast, like, after everything that kind of went down with Carl, which was interesting to hear. So I'm wondering if that's going to come out later in the season, because Andy didn't even acknowledge it. So I'm wondering if, like, he didn't want to talk about it because it's something that we're going to see play out. But it was a little interesting. I mean, Carl, like, seemed to be infatuated with this woman. And you know what? Good for him. I mean, as he has said before, he hasn't had sex in over a year. He's kind of just dipping his toe back in the water. Speaking of toes, big toe episode, this one. He's dipping his toe back in the water. So it was like, I think he was just trying to get his, like, footing with, like, kind of just flirting and having, like, this, like, back and forth with another woman. But I mean, I don't know. She had to keep talking about lemurs and, like, all this weird shit. Her parents picked her up from the party, which I thought was super weird. Her parents picked her up from this party in the Hamptons, and then, like, Carl went out to meet her family. Like, it was just a lot. I was getting secondhand embarrassment, but I don't know. I don't think anything came of the Lil situation. Obviously, we know that Carl is going to be throwing a, like, friends and family event for, like, a soft launch version of Soft Bar, which is, like, his cafe mocktail bar that he's opening in Brooklyn. And we saw that he did invite Lil, so I'm wondering if maybe she's going to come back for that episode. Who's to say? But I will say this pirate party, like, listen, those who know me know that I do not like a theme. Like, do not ask me to dress up. Do not ask me to, like, do anything. Like, let me wear whatever I want to wear. I loved this pirate party. And guys, it is actually very funny because my girlfriend was like, I told you that, like, the theme to one of our friends' birthday party was, like, just wear black, and you threw a fit about it. Like, I just don't like being told what to do. And I know she listens to this, so Meg, that's for you. I love you. But I did love this party. It just seems to be, like, a lot of fun. Now, obviously, Ciara killed it with her costume. Amanda killed it with her costume. The boys, I think, looked kind of crazy. Like, I just didn't really like the guy liner, like, aspect of it. They just looked insane. But I think the girls killed it, 10 out of 10. And, I mean, Jesse Solomon couldn't go wrong. He was dressed like the captain of a ship. So, anyways, speaking of Jesse Solomon, he got so lit at this party, guys. I was completely obsessed, and I loved every second of it. He was talking to Ciara about West and, like, what does he need to do, like, to get past everything. And Ciara just isn't interested in anything more than, like, coexisting with him. And at this point in time, like, I don't blame her. Who's to say, like, if they're on a season together, like, this coming summer, that maybe things will change. But I think it was just still so fresh for her that, like, she just didn't want anything to do with him at the time. And, I mean, rightfully so. I got my girls back on that one. But they were talking about, like, all, like, just their friendship and all of this. And then Jesse did say, or he did say to Ciara that West called dibs on her. And that's why he, like, never made any type of, like, move last season, which I think was interesting because had West not, Jesse 100% would have, and I could have seen something going much further between Jesse and Ciara. Now, do not get me wrong. I love, love, love Jesse Solomon. I think he's a great addition to Summer House. And would I have loved to see Jesse and Ciara hook up? 100%. I think that would have been amazing. At this point in time now, I don't see it. I want Ciara with, like, someone famous. I want her with, like, an athlete, like a basketball player or something. Like, I just think that, like, she doesn't need to waste her time on, like, these boys in her Hampton summer house on her reality TV show. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe, like, a cute little makeout session, like, could be, like, a thing. But I don't know if they'll ever go there because of the West situation. And if they did, it would definitely, I think, would put some type of, like, hindrance on the friendship between Jesse and West. I don't know. Unless, like, West really doesn't care. I can see West being, like, pretending to be okay with it, but then, like, actually not. I don't know. But it was interesting to hear that, like, oh, like, I didn't do anything because West called dibs on you. Like, what? I don't know. It's, who knows? But that's not where we stop with, like, the whole Jesse and Ciara thing, because he has a conversation with Amanda and Craig a little bit later that we're going to talk about, and I just found it interesting. But speaking of Craig, what I do want to get into is the conversation that Craig had with Kyle about the whole Loverboy versus Spritz situation. And if you watched the episode, obviously, Jesse had made a comment and had said that, like, oh, Craig was just telling us that, like, he's never, like, gonna mess with Loverboy ever again. And they did, like, a flashback to, like, 3 hours before this, where Craig was talking to Jesse and West and said that, like, he pulled Loverboy from his stores and he's never, like, gonna use them again. And he was definitely, like, hurt over, like, this, everything that happened between him and Kyle. In particularly, Kyle going on Watch What Happens Live and saying that Craig is a liar. Like, now, I love, don't, like, get it twisted, guys. I love me some Paige DeSorbo, but I also love Craig Conover. So I just think it's funny that, like, he's holding on to, like, to this. But, like, Craig, my guy. I was going to say Craig girl. But no, Craig. I mean, the editors have, like, consistently, like, posted flashback videos of, like, his lies. So, like, I just don't think he, like, wants to admit it. But, I mean, he has said he's, like, a fibber and a storyteller. I just don't believe he thinks that, like, anything he says is a lie. Who's to say? Let the man believe whatever he wants to believe in his own mind. But the whole feud, I think, is just, like, a little bit blown out of proportion, right? So, as many of you know, Craig signed a deal with Spritz, which is a canned cocktail company that is run by, like, Claudia Oshry and Ben Soffer. And he had met with Kyle to kind of give him the heads up that like this deal was presented to him. And I believe Craig was like interested in investing into Loverboy. And I guess like it just like never happened with Kyle. Anyway, regardless, Craig met with Kyle before all of this was announced. And Kyle is saying that he asked Craig to like just give him a minute. In my mind, thinking like, let me come up with something that you could potentially do to be an investor in my company instead of theirs, since they have a long-standing friendship. But Kyle thinks that Craig did not go to him until the deal was done and was just like kind of telling him like, oh, this is going to come out now. So like, just so you're aware, like I'm doing a deal with Spritz. Now, Craig talks to Kyle saying like, you went on national television and told the entire world that I was a liar. And Kyle was like, yep. And I stand by that. Like, so they're just kind of like fighting, honestly, like little girls, like back and forth. Craig says that he told Kyle that he sent him a text message and was like, listen, man, it's just business. And that Kyle had responded saying like, oh, people who say that like do shady stuff. Now, listen, I want to play devil's advocate for just a moment because I don't think Craig would be too happy if Kyle did like a pillow collaboration with somebody. Do you know what I mean? Because then he would be promoting like an opposing company to Sewing Down South. Would Kyle do that? Probably not. I mean, who's to say? Will he do it now out of spite? Probably. I don't know. I will just say I think it was just like blown out of proportion. For as big as they made this like feud seem, it really was over in what we saw in like a minute and a half. And they hugged and said they were sorry and then kind of went back to the party and like about their business. I will say this. And this is just my opinion. I don't know for sure. I don't think those two have probably spoken since that conversation, right? Because we don't know if Craig is going to come back at all for the rest of the season, if he's going to interact with the housemates. And then obviously we've seen Amanda and Kyle have had Paige's back during like this whole breakup situation. I just, for some reason, feel like they just haven't spoken since that. And they probably like won't. But who's to say? It was just interesting because one of the things that I do love as well is like they could have had this conversation the night before when Kyle had tried, but Craig didn't want to have the conversation. He like kind of blamed it on like a long travel day and him just wanting to like push it to tomorrow. Well, they had this conversation at the party and they are like having serious talk while dressed like pirates with like their guy liner on, like smudgy with their black eyes. I love when a Bravo Leb fights in a costume. Now, could not be me because you would not catch me in a costume. I don't, again, like I said, I don't do themes, but I love it when it's other people. Something about it is just so funny and it makes me take it like not so seriously. Like they could have been like in a heated argument. Now, granted, they weren't. They could have been. And I wouldn't have taken it seriously whatsoever because they were dressed like pirates. Like, it was just hilarious. Now, obviously, again, they kind of go back about their business with the party. Now, Jesse is still over here living his best life now that Lexi is gone. And he's talking to Craig and Amanda, like I had said earlier, about like Ciara. And they ask if he would ever date Ciara. And he was like, I'm a heterosexual man, so duh. Like, which... I mean, listen, he gave Ciara compliments, which I love. This is what I love about Jesse. He truly hypes up all the women in the house. We see it on their Instagram photos. We saw it last night on Watch What Happens Live. And I just love that. I think he knows that... I just don't think he would ever... I don't know. Maybe he is learning from West's mistakes. I just truly think that he is the type of guy that is like a hype man. He's like going to like give you like all the compliments that you need. And he just, that's just how he is. Again, not that he'll ever hear this, but Jesse, don't ever stop doing that because I love it. One of my favorite things online is going on Instagram and seeing Jesse in the comments hyping the girls from the Summer House up. And it's amazing. And some of the other people on Bravo should really take note. I mean, listen, you don't see him arguing yet with any of the ladies in the house, so who's to say? Now, what I do want to talk about, guys, is the conversation that Paige and Ciara had in the bedroom during the party. Now, Paige says that she talked to Amanda about her issue with Craig, and Amanda asked her if she feels if she feels as though Craig is not supportive. And Paige said she feels like Craig gets his feelings hurt if she's shining. Now, Ciara tells Paige, I'm not going to tell you again. I'm not going to tell you again, hinting that they have had this conversation before. So it's not the first time that this has come up. And Paige says when they got home from that dinner that they had in the city, that Craig had told her, well, obviously on camera, I'm not going to say that you're way busier than me and your shit is bigger. And when Paige asked why, Craig had said, well, that would be negative. And this is causing Paige to question whether or not she's dating a hater. And it is very interesting how we're getting points of view from different, shows, right? So we're seeing Craig's POV on how the relationship is on Southern Charm. Everything is hunky-dory. He wants the picket fence and the kids and the wife and the house down south. We see Paige where she seems to be coming off very annoyed with Craig. And now she's questioning the relationship. I'm loving everything. Now, right now, listen, there's two sides to every story. There's his version, her version, and the truth. Some lies somewhere in between, I'm sure. Now, what I will say is I think it's a little weird that he wouldn't acknowledge her success on camera, but he'll acknowledge it off. And this has been a common theme, it seems like, that they had said on the episode where Craig is really only interested in something succeeding if it has something to do with him. And I don't know, maybe he doesn't see it that way. I don't know. I have no idea. But I just think that it really wouldn't take much to just be I'm so proud of you, or just acknowledging her successes. I don't know. I mean, I think we've seen him acknowledge obviously on Watch What Happens Live in December, he acknowledged that he was so happy for them completing their 60 city tour. And he said they're killing it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know in that point in time over the summer what was going on. I can't remember that far back if we ever heard him at that point kind of acknowledge her successes. But it's weird that he would say to her that he didn't want to do it on camera. I don't know. I feel and if you watch What Happens Live, Andy had asked Jesse Solomon, over the summer, could you tell that they weren't going to make it? And Jesse had said yeah. And Andy had asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, how jealous do you think that Craig is of Giggly Squad? And Jesse said a 7 or an 8. And I think we're really seeing the cracks now starting to form. And obviously we learned months later that they ended up breaking up, but you can see the irritation is starting to come out now publicly. And I just hate to see it. Again, like I said, just because I love both of them. I don't know. Nobody wants to date a hater. You want to date someone that is going to, hype you up and be proud of you and, not want to only talk about your successes in certain settings. Anyway, regardless, I will say this. The Southern Charm reunion is, I'm assuming, 3 parts, and then we are done with the Southern Charm version of the breakup. Summer House, we just got the mid-season trailers, so this season is almost over, and then we have the reunion, and then we never have to talk about the breakup ever again. And let me tell you, I feel like a divorced child, in the middle of all of this. Now, listen, am I really? No. But just because I like them both so much, I'm trying to see both sides of, what is going on. And I just, it's exhausting. And I see you guys in the comments being oh my God, when are we going to stop talking about this? Oh my God, I'm over hearing about this breakup. Okay, I'm over talking about it too, but the shows are on. And if something comes out, I'm going to talk about it. I'm not posting necessarily. I'm posting stuff about the breakup and the relationship as it's coming out on the show. Now, believe me, I don't want to talk about it any more than I already am. So I can't wait for this season of Summer House to be over. So now we can go into 2 new seasons of Southern Charm and Summer House and not have to talk about it ever again. Okay? I mean, like, believe me, I'm just as tired as y'all are. But what I will say is this party was lit. The boys were getting after it. Wes and Jesse seemed to be having a ball. Jesse couldn't even walk, it seemed like. Now, the fact that these boys, towards the end of the episode, were getting ready to go out after having partied all day. Now, do not get it twisted. I can rally. It just looked very exhausting, and it's different in the summertime day drinking because I feel like it sucks the life out of you and you're so exhausted by the end of it. To get me to go out and do something at night, you've lost your damn mind. But listen, they rallied, and I don't know how Jesse did it because I thought he was going to fall asleep while he was on FaceTime with Lexi. And then, nope, he got up, got the girls at McDonald's, changed, went to the club. Guys, they get back from their night out. Emerald, who really hasn't said much on this show. We don't know much about him. Emerald brings 2 girls back home with him. Now, Jesse is so drunk, he wants to see who the girls are. So Jesse goes to Emerald's room, and we see him walking in, fully clothed, shoes on. We get the timestamp. Obviously, Emerald is right now the king of putting the towel over the camera. He doesn't want any of his hookups to be recorded. I don't blame him. Obviously, we know as seasons have gone on, so many of the people in the house don't even have sex because they don't want to have sex on camera. I mean, listen, Amanda says it every season. We totally get it. I mean, I want to see single people hooking up, or we at least know that they're hooking up. So the fact that he puts the towel over the camera, we just know something is happening. Now, we get the timestamp that says 37 minutes later, and Jesse walks out of the room with his shoes in his hand. Now, both boys have maintained... Listen, I lost my mind. In the group chat, guys, I'm not even kidding. In the group chat, I'm like, what the fuck did we just see? I literally want to die. It was so insane. I'm going to read you my response. As soon as it said 37 minutes later, I said, what just happened? ? LMAO. My girlfriend Meg had said Jesse in all caps, and I just said, I'm obsessed. And my other girlfriend Paxton says, I'm screaming. I literally just gaslit myself that I didn't see that. So we all just witnessed an orgy. I mean, guys, it was insane. It was so funny. Now, listen, Jesse says that one of the girls just sucked his toe. I can't even say that with a straight face. Jesse says that one of the girls just sucked his toe. So that's all that happened. And they are standing by this on Watch What Happens Live, that nothing else happened. And I will say they do talk about it more and next week. And I have posted the first 5+ minutes of next week's Summer House over on my Instagram. So make sure to go check that out if you can't wait to see what happens in the beginning of next week's episode, because it kind of ends with Jesse coming out to the pool while they're all talking about this. Now, or I'm sorry, it ends with Emerald walking out to the pool while they're all talking about this. So I will say, in the moment watching it on the show, I was like, oh shit, Jesse was so fucked up from day drinking and going out. He probably did do something in that room more than just a toe suck with the girls that were in there. I believe him now after watching Watch What Happens Live and Emerald backing him up and saying nothing else happened. I feel like if there was more that had happened, they would have caught audio or played audio or something like that. But I believe him. But the internet went crazy because I don't think anything has happened like that in a very long time. And so many people online are also talking about, oh my God, what's Emerald's storyline? He's so overly sexual. Guys, the gist of like Summer House was for all of these friends to come to the house in the Hamptons, party, hook up, do all these things, and we get to see it because they are kind of like a group of friends that you would want to be a part of, right? You can envision yourself being a part of that friend group or want to be a part of that friend group. And so they just haven't had like crazy hookups like the last few seasons. So the fact that we're getting it back now, I mean, someone has to do it. Like, you know what I mean? And he is single. These girls are coming back with him. So they've got to be consenting adults. Like, let them have fun. Now, is Emerald interesting? No, I don't think he's interesting. We've heard him talk maybe a total of 3.5 minutes the entire season. But I will say why I think Emerald is there is I think Emerald was testing like in the beginning. And I don't know if maybe they got a lot from him. But when Bailey no longer was going to be on the show, they kind of went with what they had on Emerald and like the footage that they had with him. So I think that's why we got Emerald. Will he be a one-season wonder? Probably. I don't know if we'll ever see him again. I mean, he's not talking much, so I can't imagine they're going to be like, we need this guy back. But for now, I mean, like, whatever. Like, just let him do his thing. He's over there humping in the Hamptons. Good for him. But overall, guys, that last few minutes was it made the episode for me. I could not get enough Southern Charm last night. Or I'm sorry, I couldn't get enough Summer House last night. We're going to talk about Southern Charm next. That's why I'm getting my shows kind of like confused right now. But I would say 10 out of 10. I loved everything about that. All right, guys. So at the end of this episode, we got the Summer House mid-season trailer. Guys, it was so good. There is still so much more to come this season. We have Amanda and Kyle talking about potentially having kids, whether they want them, whether they don't want them. I love getting to see like the insight into like their personal journey, like through marriage, on top of getting to see them in the Hamptons. So can't wait to see that. Lexi finds out about Jesse getting his toe sucked. Guys, I can't get over this. It is literally so funny. But Lexi finds out about that. She does not seem to be happy. We get more Craig and Paige drama. We get Lindsay and Carl drama, which looks like that could be having something to do with Lil. Oh, God, we can't get rid of Lil. Ciara confronts Emerald about like his hypersexuality, and we get more drama with Jesse and the girls, with Gabby like singling him out like at that dinner table scene. It looks like there's drama between him and Gabby, if not maybe another girl as well. And then we also get the pickup scene with Paige and the girls discussing the breakup. Now, I can't wait. I literally cannot wait. This show is so freaking good this season, and I'm loving every second of it. But we got to leave the Hamptons, and we have to head to Charleston because we have to talk about part 1 of that Southern Charm reunion. So let's go. All right, guys. We need to talk last night's Southern Charm Part 1 reunion. Now, I'm not going to dive into the full reunion. I just want to talk about really the first half of it where they wasted no time. Andy said his hellos. We get right into the Craig and Paige of everything. So, obviously at the beginning of the reunion, we get Madison. Madison arrives looking gorgeous. And this is where she's revealing her pregnancy to all of the Charmers. Nobody knew. She goes, I felt like I was being such a bad friend. But no one knew that she was pregnant. And this is where they all first learned of it. It was so cute. She tells the crew that, like, she was pretending to do dry January and, like, all these things. And that she's having a girl. And that Hudson is, like, so protective. And, like, I'm just so happy for them. So it was just such a good reaction to get from the cast that they had no idea their friend was pregnant. And pretty far along, too. Maybe, like, 4 months. She had a belly. I have no idea how pregnancy works. But, like, she's far enough along where she visibly had a pregnant stomach. Now, Andy is going around and saying hello to the gang. He gets to JT, and Andy said, last I saw you quit the show. Calling him right out. Called his ass right out. And then JC just said, like, my inner bitch had a moment. And Sally was like, your inner bitch is always coming out. Like, Sally does not like JT. And you can tell throughout the entire season. You can tell at the reunion when she figured out that she had to sit next to him. She was not happy about having to sit next to that man. Now, I don't blame her because of the way he kind of came after her at that, like, event space after the Tuba concert. But I digress. So I just don't feel, I get why she's a little upset with it. Now, that was just like a funny moment. Because right after he does his hellos and he acknowledges like all of that, he gets right into the Craig and Paige breakup. Now, Andy instantly goes into saying that the Bravo universe was rocked with this breakup news. And that in the finale, we see that Craig has like a blindsided moment of the breakup, and he asks Craig like if he missed some of the signs, like looking back, if he missed some of the signs leading up to this breakup. Now, Craig said that he based his relationship off of how the two of them were in private, and that in those moments, there were no signs that there was like any trouble in paradise between him and Paige. Now, could that be a little naive? Yes. Do I believe that Craig would do that? Also, yes. I think that he really is like a hopeless romantic and like wants to see the best in people. So he might just kind of have blinders on to like something that may not even be like a bad thing, but just like something you should kind of maybe notice if is off with the relationship. Do you know what I mean? Now, this is where it gets a little kind of like sticky because obviously throughout like the last few months since the breakup has happened, there's always been like a discrepancy with the timeline, especially coming from Craig's end, because it seemed as though he kind of just like didn't have his story straight when it came to the timeline. Craig says that Paige broke up with him 2 days after Thanksgiving, prior to him and Austin's live show in Toronto. When I went back and looked at the date, Austin and Craig's live show in Toronto was on Monday, December 2nd, and that is the Monday after Thanksgiving. So 2 days after Thanksgiving, Paige calls him and breaks up with him, and then they have the live show in Toronto. Now, Andy says, but you told me on Watch What Happens Live, December 12th, that you were still together, and asked if Craig feels he was telling the truth then. Meaning, were you telling me the truth on December 12th? Craig says, after being in a 3-year relationship, and the girl asks you to get an engagement ring, and you do it, asks you to move to New York City, and you agree to it, when you just get a phone call and say, we'll talk about it, he just didn't seem that it was, he just didn't think that it was real. So the timeline, I feel like in his mind is still murky. I think that he just thought like, oh, maybe in his mind he thought he heard we should talk. I have no idea. And he just like wasn't ready to admit the breakup. I don't know. But Craig then also says like, after Watch What Happens Live, he went to her apartment, because obviously if you watch that Watch What Happens Live episode, he was like, oh, like she just got off like her 50-something city tour. She's at home right now with her cat on the couch. He says, after that Watch What Happens Live, he went to her apartment and asked her, like, what's happening? Like, what's going on with us? And she said, I'm probably making the worst mistake of my life, but I need to find myself. Now, at this point, Craig says, had asked her, like, what should I do with the ring? And Paige told him, like, keep it and maybe we'll get married at BravoCon. I'm sorry, what? Now, this is where I kind of was like, what is this story? Because I could not picture Paige, like, getting married at BravoCon. She's not going to have a wedding, like, at BravoCon. What is that going to be, like, an add-on fan experience? What? It just didn't, it seemed crazy. So I have no idea what they're talking about in regards to that. I'm hoping Andy like clarifies that with her. at their reunion. Now, we haven't seen Paige on Watch What Happens Live yet. I am assuming they are saving her for finale night, so that way he can kind of ask her everything of, like, her version of, like, what is going on. But maybe he'll ask her, like, that night, or he'll save him for the reunion. But that kind of threw me, because Andy was like, I mean, that's not a bad idea. But, like, could you imagine that, like, if you had to, like, buy an add-on experience to Craig and Paige's wedding, you better believe I would buy a ticket. But, like, still, it just seems so insane and so far from, like, anything Paige would ever want to do for her reunion or for her wedding. So I just find that so funny. I hope she saw that and just laughed and was like, what the fuck do you mean? But it was just crazy. Like, the entire thing was just, like, absolutely insane. So Craig said that all December, the entire month of December, he was just in a weird place, and that they continued to speak throughout December. And 2 days before New Year's, Paige had told him that she talked about the breakup on an episode of Giggly Squad that was going to be released, and that one day all of his stuff was just on his porch. Now, I mean, I believe that she did give him a heads up that the episode was going to come out. I mean, she's not an asshole. Like, of course she would be like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm telling my podcast about our breakup. In her mind, it's been like a month. So, like, she feels like she should, like, tell the gigglers. And then she sent him his stuff. I mean, I don't know what stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, does she UPS it? Who knows? She sent his stuff back to Charleston. Now, it was just insane. So this is all going on. Like, this is all going on. Andy even was like, if all this is happening, like, how this happened, like, right before your live show in Toronto with Austin, like, how come you just didn't tell him? And Craig said that he couldn't tell Austin because he still doesn't trust Austin, and that if he told Austin, the world would know. I mean, listen, I mean, who would Austin tell? Would he? I don't know. I would assume if it's one of your best friends, you would kind of keep that to yourself until they are comfortable with telling people, and then you can talk about it if it comes up in conversation. I don't know, but, like, if a friend told me that they, like, broke up with their significant other, I'm not going to run and tell everyone, like, as soon as it happens. I would, like, wait. I mean, I would wait a little bit and, like, until people know, and you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it just, that is more so the fact that he just doesn't trust Austin, and that's why he didn't tell him. Hopefully they're rebuilding their trust, though, because, like, need the boys all together again. So Craig said that there was also nothing mutual about the breakup. He says that the person that Paige has been since the breakup isn't the person he remembers dating. Now, we get Andy asking Craig, Andy's not holding back. Now, I will say, they did spend a lot of time on the first half of this reunion on Craig and Paige. I don't think it's over yet, though, because we see in the, like, preview for next week, I think it gets brought up again. I think it's a 3-part reunion. I don't know for sure. I'm assuming it's 3 parts. It's just not over. I think they just kind of wanted to get a chunk of it out of the way because they knew the viewers were, like, there to get the tea. Like, what's good? What's going on? I think they know that, like, fans hate when you leave all the good stuff for the end. So I think they're just trying to spread it out. You know what I mean? They're trying to, like, give everybody a little bite. So Andy goes in and asks Craig if Paige broke up with him for a new guy, meaning that Joe D'Amelio character that we have seen all over the internet. Craig says that he asked Paige to put him out of his misery and tell him if she's with another guy. And Paige told him she's not talking to or dating anyone, and that she had said some other crazy stuff. Now, when I tell you, when he said that and she had said some other crazy stuff, the way the entire cast reacted, they were like, what? What did she say? Tell us. Austin was like, no one's listening except the world that's watching this reunion right now. That is me. What did she say? You can't say that and not tell us what stuff she said. So Craig said that Paige says that she wanted to know why he didn't, like, try to get her back. I don't know, guys. It's a lot. It is a lot going on in these streets with these two. I don't know. There is so much that we are not going to get the answers to, because this is a relationship that happened between two people that are comfortable with sharing their lives, but also need to keep some stuff like to themselves. So we're not going to get all the answers you're looking for. And I mean, I don't know. So I guess all you can do is speculate. I don't know. People say crazy things in the midst of breakups. So I'm sure some of you have been like, why would you don't want to get back together? Like, if it's just fresh, you know, like in your mind, you're like, did I make a mistake? Like, who knows? Like, it's a lot of stuff going on. But I will say they did a great job in the first half of the Southern Charm reunion addressing all of that stuff. The rest of the reunion was also very, very good. They got into it with the Madison and JT situation, and they got into it with the Venita and JT situation, and it kind of ended there. There's so much more to the Venita and JT thing than like I ever thought there was going to be. When we were watching the trailer for the season teaser, I thought it was only going to be a small blimp in the season and not ever be talked about. It ended up being so much bigger than what I thought it ever could have been. But they address it. I mean, we see at the end of the episode that Venita's going to get her phone and she is going to get her receipts. And in that moment, when Venita walks out with her cell phone, you know Molly, my girl, newbie. Listen, I fucking love Molly. I'm going to try and get her on the podcast because that girl is funny. And she's like a fan of Bravo. She was like, Venita's walking out and Molly's like, receipts, proof, timeline, like receipts, all like screenshots, fucking everything. Like, it was just so good to like see that happen in that moment at another reunion. So I'm interested to see more of the backstory between Venita and JT. Now, will we see JT again? Probably not. So he better like say what he needs to say on this reunion, because I don't think he'll be asked back for another season. But I even find their timeline a little kind of like messed up. So I don't know what's going on with the timelines down in Charleston, but they need to figure it out, because the dating time between Venita and JT was also weird. He was dating a girl, and then did they break up because he says that him and Venita dated for a month and a half after filming, but then he got back with this other girl. It's a whole ass mess, honey. It is a mess. But I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next parts. And again, guys, we're going to talk about it. Southern Charm, again, is another one of my favorite shows. I mean, we've got Southern Hospitality, Southern Charm, Summer House, The Valley. We're going to talk about all of it. So until we get another part, guys, we're going to leave Charleston. And you know where we're going? To the newsroom, because we got some stuff that we got to talk about that happened this week in the Bravo universe. All right, guys, a few things going on in the Bravo universe this season. Some of the major headlines are some departures from some of our favorite people on our favorite shows to some divorces being finalized. So let's get into it. We found out that Garcelle was announcing that she is leaving the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. After 5 seasons, she is exiting. And she says that she left things on a very good note. Andy told her the door is always open. She just has family stuff going on. Her sons are entering their senior year of high school. She has like production things she's working on, acting, filming, all the things that she wants to focus her time on. And I love that she kind of knew when it was time to step away. And if you listen to Radio Andy even said he had a great conversation, probably one of the best conversations he's ever had with a housewife about the show with Garcelle. And he said, listen, call me in a year. We'll see where you're at. I think the door will be open for Garcelle if she chooses to come back. I think now she just wants to take a break, catch her breath. Something happens at the reunion that causes her to leave. Obviously, we see at the end of that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 14 reunion trailer. I am bummed. I love Garcelle. I've loved Garcelle for so long. I know I'm showing my age, but I loved her on the Jamie Foxx show, even though I was probably too young to be watching it. But I've loved Garcelle for a very long time. Listen, some of you guys are haters in the comment section. And I don't get it. Like, the amount of hate that you guys give in that comment section makes me think that maybe you shouldn't even be watching reality TV because it's next level crazy. I love Garcelle. So listen, maybe one day she'll come back. Who's to say? We will keep our eyes out, though, for whatever she is doing. And we'll watch her on whatever screen she's going to be on next, whether it be the big screen or on our TV screens. But much love and luck to her. I love her. And she's fucking stunning, guys. Of course she leaves the season. She gives us one of her best reunion looks. Are you kidding me? And I think she leaves the reunion early, so we didn't even get to, probably don't even know how long we're going to see her in that reunion look for. But it is what it is. Garcelle Beauvais has exited Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, guys, some news coming out of Miami. Speaking of, where is the Real Housewives of Miami? Like, where is their next season? Because I need it to feed my soul. I miss them so much. Real Housewives of Miami, Alexia Nepola finalizes her divorce from her ex-husband, Todd. And this is an exclusive that was out on Us Weekly, where they had stated Alexia's marriage to Todd has officially come to an end. That the Real Housewives of Miami the Real Housewives of Miami stars are divorced after reaching a marital settlement agreement on March 17th, nearly a year after Todd filed for divorce. According to court documents obtained by Us, the former couple reached an agreement that they wish to remain confidential. But they signed their agreement freely and voluntarily with the assistance and advice of counsel. Guys, that divorce, I mean, that it was so quick. We've seen divorces on Bravo last years. I mean, does anyone know if Bethany Frankel's even officially divorced yet? I feel like her divorce is 10 times longer than her actual marriage. Side note, I'm joking. I think her divorce is actually done. But we've seen some divorces take so long. Like Ashley Darby's on Potomac, I feel like took forever. But she's finally done too. Now, the interesting thing about Todd and Alexia is I've got some of you guys in my DMs and even in the comments saying you saw her at dinner last week with Todd. Listen, maybe they are still amicable. Maybe they are still friendly. Who is to say? But the divorce is finalized. I mean, I think another person said, I just saw her in Paris. I'm like, oh, with Todd. Listen, who doesn't love a vacation? So she wants to go with her ex-husband. Let her go. But I will say it's going to be interesting to see this play out on the next season of The Real Housewives of Miami. I'm assuming they talk about it. So much was going on with this marriage where like he filed for divorce and then they were going to work on it. Now the divorce is finalized. I don't know. It's crazy, crazy energy going on down there in Miami. But no worries, because we're not staying there long. We're leaving Miami and we're going up to Charleston because we have news out of Charleston. Guys, you know I love me some Leva Bonaparte, but Leva has announced that she is exiting Southern Charm after the 10th season. Now, Leva said in an Instagram post, "Hi guys, wanted to let you know that although this year was so fun, I will be stepping away from Southern Charm this year on great terms. I am in a place now in my life where I want to have time to focus on boys and my joys, and need some time for a life reset on what is aligned for me. I don't have a very salacious personal life to share, but I do have a lot going on, and frankly, I'm working on some pretty cool stuff that I hope to share more of soon. I love my friends on Charm, wish them the best, and I'll show up when they need me. Maybe you'll see me at a party or two throughout their new season. Where you will see me is on Southern Hospitality in full force, where I can focus my energy on the business and the show that has really found its footing this year, thanks to the fans, the Bravo bloggers, and the GOAT network, NBC and Bravo TV. So this isn't TV goodbye, just maybe you'll see me a little less. Love y'all." Now, I love that she acknowledged that her life isn't too salacious and like she really doesn't have much going on for the show. I think Leva has always been a voice of reason on Southern Charm. Listen, everyone mocks her for like, what is she doing here? Like, we never even really saw her. I love Leva because I love the way that she kind of handles situations that she is in. And listen, Southern Hospitality is that girl right now, and it is thriving. And she created Southern Hospitality. So although she is leaving Southern Charm, Will we see her maybe in the background or showing up as a guest at a party? I would very much assume so, as Charleston is a small city and she's still friends with these people, that we'll probably see her pop back in, just not like in any capacity where she's going to be kind of giving her input on anything. But I'm excited to see her on Southern Hospitality. It has become one of my favorite shows. I tell you guys about it, I feel like week after week. You're probably sick and tired of hearing me say it. If you have not watched Southern Hospitality, go to Peacock, watch all 3 seasons just so you're in time for season 4. It is so good. And maybe it'll allow us now to see her in a more of a different light if she spends more of her time on Southern Hospitality. But I am sad about it. I will tell ya, I am not a fan of her leaving, but I'm glad that she knew it was time to go because she didn't really have much more to offer to the show. Like, I get it, girl. I mean, she doesn't want to go on the cast trips either. She even says it, like, on the reunion, that she doesn't want to go on those trips. Like, too much is going on. So it's nice to know when you know it's time to step back. But I'm telling you, 2 departures and a divorce finalization, like, there's a lot going on, guys. And listen, the summer is, like, the weather's about to break, so I'm sure these people are about to be acting the fool. So we're probably going to get more coming up. I mean, guys, there's so much going on. We have Love Hotel coming up. Like, that show is going to be amazing. If you haven't caught the trailer for that, it's over on my Instagram. Are you kidding me? Giselle, Ashley Darby, Shannon, and Luann all fighting over men looking for love. That is the content that I want to see. And we're going to talk about it when it comes out. Which is in April. I can't wait. But guys, that's what I got for you this week. Listen, make sure you're liking, you're rating, you're reviewing, you're doing all the things for the podcast. If you have a friend that loves Bravo, send them a link and invite them over to the party. And until next week, love ya. Bye.